Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aristochats podcast, episode 7?
7.
Maybe. As you can see, I've had a haircut.
Well done.
And I have a moustache for the first time in my life.
How do you find it?
I'm very happy to get rid of the rest of the facial hair, which was actually really bothering me. For those of you who don't know, I was growing it out for the role. They didn't say to do it, but it was like a medieval role and I thought it suited. But it was really bothering. I have very sensitive skin and I wasn't enjoying it. The mustache, I don't know.
It's been pretty controversial.
It has been controversial, yeah. It's a little bit like, I look a little like Hitler, apparently.
A little bit.
I walked up to my roommate, Josh, the other day, just walk out and meet him at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, Josh, scale of 1 to 10, how much do I look like Hitler? And he just was like, oh my God, yeah, that's it, that's the one. So, wasn't what I was going for, but I don't know.
Do you find you get food stuck in it or whatever?
No.
Okay.
But I knew some of it's coming down over my lips, so I want to, but no. I don't have any issues.
Have you been using the mugs with the special lip protector?
No. That sounds kind of fun though. Have you ever had a mustache? Have you ever had a mustache?
No, I can't grow out like a proper one.
Oh,
but
that sucks for you.
Yeah, I think they're kind of gross anyway, so I don't like them.
Yeah.
I find if I eat
like
donuts with sugar or whatever on them, it's just sugar everywhere. And it's like,
you might look good with a mustache.
do you think so?
Maybe.
I've
With
posted,
the cap?
I've posted
Yeah.
it to a
Kind of French
picture
guy.
of it. Yeah, French.
French guy, yeah.
I'm not French. But
No. All right, so a fair bit to cover today. One of the main things, well, the biggest news in the Smash sort of world this week has been aMSa winning a major. Well done, Ben, by the way.
why couldn't you have done that before the stream?
Couldn't open his can of Coke before we opened the show.
Who doesn't love the sound of a can opening?
Yeah, nice ASMR.
It's good.
Very good.
When you're in
Thank you.
Discord call silence and someone just
Yeah,
cracks one open, it's good.
brilliant. Very relaxing, very nice.
And have the slurp as well.
Not
No,
the
I won't
slip.
do it. I won't
The
do it.
slip, lean right in. Could do without it. So aMSa won a major. First time Yoshi's ever won a major.
Yep.
Arguably, I think the biggest Melee tournament of all time, most
I
competitive.
keep hearing that.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what the metric that was. I assume the number of top 100 attendees or something like
I
that.
feel like surely every major every year is the biggest, because they get
Because
better.
they get better.
Yeah,
Players
they
always
get
better.
better.
But that's
Exactly
not how But apparently there are players who are the best in their region in America who are just drowning in pools.
Yeah.
So a very, very stacked event. And you probably didn't follow it much, but he wins through winners.
Okay.
He beats
Yeah,
Mango
very
in
impressive.
grands. Looked like he was going to 3-0 Mango, who was obliterated in game
he
1
was this
2.
close to 3-0ing him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mango never really goes down without a fight, so it brings it back, and then last
just makes
stock.
it better. It just
Yeah,
makes it
and then he
even
gets it on the
better.
the one tech chase set up on the last stock on FD.
Yeah, a brutal punish.
Yeah, and he just zero deaths him basically for sort of one advantage win.
What a broken character.
Yeah,
actually.
well Yoshi just
Better than
looks
Samus.
good, no?
Mhm.
Yoshi just looks like a good character. There's so much so many setups and things this character has.
Yep.
Looks kind of good.
I have no idea. I know literally
You
nothing
should
about
watch. It's
Melee
a
Yoshi.
cracking set actually, a really good set.
I suppose.
But also one little sort of part of this as well is that he used to think that Yoshi Fox was unwinnable in FD. You couldn't take Fox to FD, and then game 5 he's lost 2 games in a row. He takes him to FD.
Yeah.
Mainly to get tech chases. Basically, is what he wanted to do, and yeah, wins the set off that tech chase situation, which is why he took him to FD.
Is that some kind of game conditioning or something?
I don't
I've
think so.
conditioned you to do this
What
over the
are you
last
saying?
4 games.
Do you think you did the Attila?
Maybe.
So
And what is the Attila?
okay, the Attila is when you're playing against a 13 or 14-year-old Jesmo in it is his 3rd tournament, and you're sitting there, and you're Attila, you're the second best player in Victoria, so you're way better than this scrub wolf player, and you're like, man, I hate FD. That stage is so bad for Snake. You say it not to me, say it to your friend over here, just enough so that the little kid hears you, and then the little kid's like, oh, okay, I'll take your FD.
It's like a stage.
Get 2 stocks. He's like, that's actually my favorite Snake stage. That's the best. That's the best Snake stage in the game. And I'm just like, so Santa's not real, and the world is evil. Okay, that's awesome, man. Basically, what happens. That was pretty much my first interaction with Attila. This guy sprints up. We've gone massively off topic of aMSa winning this major. We'll go back to it, but Attila's sitting there in his tank top, muscles bulging, sprinter physique, massive fucking guy. And
He's got
just
100 meter sprints up next after this set.
lying to me. And this guy was he would beat me anyway. I was not going to beat him. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter
He didn't
what
need the
stage,
advantage.
He didn't need
No.
it. Shits on me game 1 and then way more dominantly game 2 because he's just like, oh, you'll just never kill me in FD. It's my favourite stage. So
Crazy.
shout out to Attila. I mean that's
That's a ban.
the mentality you got to have, man. That's the mentality. It's like competitive, like no prisoners. That's what it is.
Going back to the FD counterpick
Yeah.
of aMSas, it's interesting because, I don't know, it might have been a year ago now or around that. Mango, like, counterpicked Zane, I think, or some top Marth to FD as Fox against Marth.
One, I think.
And everyone's like, well, you're dumb because that's like, you've auto loss FD against Marth. And it's like, oh, no, I actually find it without platforms and blah, 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 like you can really pressure him into the corner really effectively. And
I mean,
he just
Zane uses platforms so well anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he's obscenely clean with like his platform tech chases and stuff. It's like, how much of an advantage
like
is it?
with how this character was developed with platform play, FD, pretty good if you can keep him in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, you always run the risk, like, get grabbed, you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
But if you don't get grabbed, like the rest of the neutrals, like not too bad. It's like better. But it's kind of crazy that Melee is how many years old now?
21.
Wow.
Wow.
Like 2 decades old, and they're still finding like, I mean, it's the meta is still developing like that, where just this character who's just
that
can't,
is
can't
the
win
case.
a major. Yeah.
And I don't want to downplay aMSa's success at all because it is incredible that he has done this, but this isn't a total shocking. Like everyone's kind of treating it as like, oh my god, this has actually happened. Blah blah blah. Where on multiple occasions, aMSa's gotten close.
He's gotten close
before. Like it's not like some 65th, 97th placer. Boom, he's just won this event. It's just been a matter of time to get the good run, basically. Like he'll beat one of the 5 gods or equivalent top player, and then he just run into, I don't even know, like I'm not familiar with Yoshi's matchups, but like he'll cop Puff or Sheik. I assume they're probably a bit rough compared to like, I don't know, Fox if he's really confident in that matchup.
I mean, I guess like when you think about it, really, if you run it enough times, like eventually
it'll happen.
Well, the guy, like his skill level is, I mean, he's 1. So
and he is incredible.
But it's clearly been there for like
Yes,
a number of years.
He's
I
always
agree.
been there. So it's like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I don't think it's like as big of a deal.
No, probably
as,
not. I agree,
so,
because if you told me like, oh, do you think aMSa will ever win a major? I'd be like,
It's a matter of time,
Like,
you know?
like the guy's fucking good if he keeps playing, like probably.
He's beaten them all before.
Guy's really
so,
good,
you know, yeah.
But it is cool to see like a character who just from like a statistical, historical point of view,
total
has
off
never
the
won a
wall.
major before, and that's the first like this character's now won like a Superman.
Yeah, like regardless,
really
it is a statistical oddity.
Yeah,
you know, in the meta and game entirely.
But it
So
makes
it's
you
incredible.
wonder, like,
like
what-
Axe winning the summit or whatever it was.
Makes you wonder what other characters maybe could potentially do this, because everyone thinks at that moment that the characters that have like those are the characters that can do it. So like Fox, Falco, Sheik, Marth, whatever, those are the characters. Oh, Jigglypuff can also do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Yoshi can also, I guess, now do it.
Yeah.
And you always think you know all the characters at the time, but it's like maybe there are more. Like, can Falcon do it? You don't know, right?
Yeah.
So
Falcon definitely could do it, like
Probably.
with the right run. I think Wiz Robe or
Someone
Wizzy,
went
whatever,
close.
has like got very close.
yeah,
And it's like,
Wizrobe or
it's doable.
S02J or someone got really close.
So if he had the same
Yeah.
God run,
Yeah.
then it could definitely. And then I think by the time you do get to like Samus or that kind of area, where it's like you'd have to play like you'd have to be so good at the Fox matchup and get like 3 of them in a row or something like that. But if you get like
it's hard
Sheik or
because
whatever,
you need a
it's done.
player who's this actually brings us to a really broader discussion of sort of perceived character strength in games. So what always happens is what you need for a character to look really good is firstly you need a very good player to play them, and there is like a finite number of really good players in the world. So you look at like say Smash 4 and you look at Zero and you wonder, okay, how good would Link be if Zero played Link throughout his entire career?
Well,
like,
I think
does
we
he
had-
win 52 tournaments in a row? Like, no.
No. Well, we had
You know.
kind of like a situation
Yeah.
with this, like Twig playing Bowser Jr.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, he didn't win anything.
No, he didn't win
really.
anything,
No.
but
he did beat Larry Lowe.
But there's no question that if he keeps playing Bowser Jr. for his entire length
I
of
mean,
Smash
I guess
4,
he would eventually win something.
No, maybe he doesn't win anything, but even some top 8s or whatever, like Bowser Jr. would be perceived to be better.
Yeah, and everyone would be saying he's
Okay.
high tier or something.
Yeah, or even
or high
mid tier, because people like who's like bottom 5, bottom 10 or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty bad.
Well, that's the thing, like, because you always need like a player who's. It's not just a matter of like because people pick up a character and they're like, oh, no good, like nobody. This character gets no results.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, okay,
because no one.
There's no
plays him.
insanely good player that plays him.
Yeah,
and now in alt you have like
Zero suit.
You have like 90 characters.
Yeah,
and so you need like how are you going to have a top player to play all of them? Because most top players are going to want to play like a top tier.
Mm-hmm.
So they will usually swap off. Like who was the Samus player in Melee?
Like Duck and Plup.
Yes, Plup. Who
like
went to like
one.
Sheik, yeah.
Yeah.
So Plup was a really very good Samus player, and then eventually he like wants to win tournaments, so he swaps to Sheik, basically. But you're like, well, you look at what aMSa just did, and you're like, if you gave it 5 more years, could you have done it with Samus?
Yeah.
Maybe. Actually, maybe. Because everyone would say no.
Nah.
But people, I
think Yoshi's better than Samus.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember the tier.
Yoshi looks cracked, honestly. Yeah. Yoshi looks really cracked when he hits you. He's also like way harder to kill than so many other characters in this game.
He's pretty crazy.
Like his recovery is like not that bad, and like the double jump armor. Yeah, and just I don't know. His movement is like insane as well.
Does Yoshi's shield work in Melee?
He can't shield jump
because it doesn't work in Brawl.
He has like a unique tech. I'm kind of talking out my ass here, but it's like
when he drops
parrying.
When he drops the shield, he has like invincibility, like full body invincibility.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like better than a regular shield. Like, yeah.
Okay. It is crazy because you kind of think about like 20XX or whatever, and you think that like Fox can just like drill shine repeatedly because like Yoshi can't fucking shield jump or whatever. But I don't know how this tech works. But the thing where like Yoshi gets hit in the shield and then he just slides to the other side of the fucking stage. Like that's actually so useful, that tech. Like you get shield pressed and he's like bye. He just flies away. It's pretty cool. But yeah, massive congratulations to aMSa. That's really cool. I hope we continue to see stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched it,
it's worth watching.
An incredible watch.
The guy, like, even if you're not a Melee fan, watching like the movement and the way he like uses platforms and stuff, it's sick. It really is really cool. And yeah, I mean, who else has won a major? Like, so Peach, not for a while, but obviously aMSa did that a few times. Sheik.
Yeah, you don't really see Peach around anymore. He was kind of the only one, but he was showing that you could do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you had someone as good as aMSa still playing Peach, would he win
if
something?
If aMSa never existed, then you probably think like, oh, well, Peach is like, I don't know, around as good as Samus or whatever, blah blah blah.
He won some big sets with Young Link as well against Hungrybox won a couple of times.
The counter picking is tough.
I don't think Peach can really ever be that bad with the down smash.
Nobody thinks she's bad, but it's like when it's like so it's so optimized. Like, can she? She has one really bad matchup. Who is it? I can't remember.
Probably Sheik or something, if I had to guess. Or could be wrong. I'm really not familiar.
Like Puff is supposed to be bad. But then I remember like some other Peach, I can't remember her name, beat Hungrybox like not that long ago, like a year ago or something, which I might have said was like unwinnable, so. Yeah.
When I play Peach, Marth feels pretty unwinnable to me, but that's probably because I'm standing on a platform using down smash on repeat.
Yeah. Well, that's a funny little side story. We probably haven't spoken about that, but we'll go into the whole thing one day, but short story is, one day Aero and I went to New Zealand for a Smash tournament, and Aero decided to enter Melee. He's not a Melee player. At all, okay? At all.
Can't wave dash.
No, can't do anything. Never L-cancelled in his life.
What's a wave dash?
What's a wave cheat? So we're in New Zealand and we're playing, he's playing against these Melee players who like can play the game. They're like wave dashing, they're L-cancelling, doing tech, hit confirming, doing all their cool stuff. Aero's actually sitting on a platform as Peach, down smashing on repeat. And what did you place?
Like fifth.
Fifth at this like major of like, I don't know, probably like 30 entrants or something of like actual Melee players.
We're playing the game for the last like 6-7 years.
One of the funniest things I've actually ever seen. And their look on their faces as they're getting hit by this, and they're just like, but my combo game, but my tech skill, he's just down smashing. You can't do that, you're just down smashing. Going to like Jerry Seinfeld or something. But one of the funniest things, we should, I wonder if there's any recorded of that.
That would be good. I'd probably not though.
I think all of the standing fierce like VODs got like deleted and then never
they did, that's a real shame. Because I was correct in the grand finals. Real shame.
And who did you play in grand finals?
KOKESHI.
Yoshi player. How broken's Yoshi?
Best Yoshi player I ever played against. And I played against a few good ones. Played against Nikes and Seymour Butts.
Really better than them.
Yeah, he was good. Wow. He was very good.
He was incredibly good.
He doesn't play anymore. I think he's been out of the picture for a while.
Yeah, I didn't see him much in New Zealand after that.
Even by the end of Smash 4, it was like Aloof, Red.
He B-sticked. So if you don't know what B-sticking is having your C-stick set to special attacks.
That's crazy.
Which only Lucas players in Brawl did. Nobody else has ever done this.
That's interesting.
And I remember asking why are you doing that, and I can't remember what bullshit answer he gave me. But he did some kind of, his egg use was really good, as you can kind of imagine. Mm-hmm. It allowed him to do something with eggs and stuff.
Some crazy tech with the side B as well, unpunishable.
He was very good.
He had an incredible drive to be better as well.
Yeah.
When we went over to New Zealand, we were like, does any Smash 4 players want to play friendlies? And pretty much no one responded except for Cub T and KOKESHI, which
Cub
was
T was the Wii Fit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was a shame, because it's you have the opportunity to play against
top level talent.
Yeah, you have the top player, one of the top players in Australia.
I was
top 5
I was one or second in Australia at that time.
And I wasn't really a slouch either. That's why I came third at the tournament. You should really be looking there to try and improve yourself.
So you guys play this game competitively, you'd think you'd be a bit more
that was kind of the thing. So I've gone there playing friendlies and stuff at the event, and I'm going through the bracket, and I'm actually 3-stocking all their players. I played, I think, Simikins, I think one of the Ganondorf players, Aloof, who I did not lose a stock against. I think I 9-stocked him, and he was pretty good. He's a very good melee player now. I think he's pretty good at all.
He was low key their best player.
He was not bad. He just didn't know how to deal with Diddy and stuff. And we said, any of you want to come to our hotel and play friendlies after the tournament? And none of them came.
I'm surprised Aloof didn't, because he's always seemed pretty into it. Yeah.
And KOKESHI was respectfully, he's fuck yeah.
Absolutely. He was from Japan, right?
Yeah. Culture of improvement. And we get to the hotel, and I'm I have it. So I'm playing friendlies with this guy from 10 p.m. to 3 in the morning or something, and I'm just viciously annihilating this guy. And he's good, but I'm Diddy Yoshi's very bad in this game. Yeah. And I'm just obliterating him, and I'm kind of character roulating him as well. And he's sitting there doing that thing where I'm beating him, and he's just he's just shaking his head you are too good. But this guy's not discouraged at all. He's again.
He's loving it.
He just goes in again.
He's finally someone's just beating the shit out of me.
Gets 2 stocks. Again. And he goes, and it was really, really cool. But yeah, it's nice when you see something like that, to be honest. And it was surprising. I think they're more competitively driven now. I don't know too much about the scene, but I think that's gotten a little bit better.
Yeah, they had Ichigo and Aloof giving each other some trouble, which I think was kind of the first time. Again, not super familiar, but I think previously there's always, as happens with most regions, and Australia is actually lucky that we've never really had this. Well, we did for a bit in Smash 4, but they kind of have there's the one guy who wins everything. Yeah. Nobody else can touch him. Where in Ultimate, it's Ichigo, Aloof. I think there was a guy called KFC or something like that who got pretty good, where they're all able to give each other a run for their money, and they have to actively improve to beat each other.
That's what you want in the scene. But they were all really nice. They were really friendly scene. I guess they kind of had the same problem that we mentioned last podcast, that Queensland thing of being maybe a bit too casual and just wanting to have fun. Yeah. But they thought that they wanted to be competitive, but maybe at the time they actually didn't. I don't know. But yeah, it was a really nice trip over there. At the
same time too, to us, we might think that New Zealand is quite weak or whatever as a scene. But we also take for granted how good Australia actually is. Everyone's, we all know it's we're not nowhere near the level of America. We'll never get, especially Brawl era going to Smash 4, they're don't even try to get better because you're never going to be as good as them, blah, blah, blah. There's quite a defeatist attitude. Don't blame them after Mewtwo King and Zero or whatever coming over 3-stocking everyone. But Australia is very good at the game, even since 2017 Smash 4, comparatively globally, and especially for our population and how spread out we are. You have a country like Italy, 70 million people. It's you'd think there would be a sizable, strong scene, and there's one guy who I don't think he doesn't even play anymore. I think Italy's off the radar now, but in Smash 4 there was one guy who was in the Europe top 50, and it's 70 million people. Yeah. And you have one guy who can compete with England and Spain, where we have like a dozen.
It's not even just the population either; it's also the size of the continent as well.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody from WA plays this.
We don't. We are different countries.
Yeah, nobody from Tasmania is playing. Fucking anybody.
That's one of the problems with New Zealand. Really, is that like they have such a small population, and then you've got the North Island and the South Island, and half of the good players are on the North Island, and half of the good players are on the South Island.
Enough,
So they can never play because the only way to get there is by
they are
plane.
a lot closer to each other than we are. Though.
Sure, but they have to take a plane or they have to take a boat. They can't just drive.
And then you look at like say New York or San Francisco, which is just like you have like 50 like insane players in this tiny little dot on the map. It's like that's so OP.
Or California, where they have literally dozens of different communities of players.
True,
that all constantly interact with each other.
That's
incredible.
San Francisco.
Sorry?
That's San Francisco.
Yeah, all over the place. And
moving on to a topic that I wanted to cover today, which I think was brought to our attention from a certain tweet, but I wanted to talk about matchups and how you guys feel about how they are how we define a winning or a losing or an even matchup, and the metrics we use to write about them, I suppose. Because I think it was Nagima who did a recent like matchup chart or something, or maybe he didn't do the matchup chart. Someone did one and they showed like minus 0.5 as a losing matchup, which I've never seen. I've never seen like decimal points in like I don't.
That has been around for like I'd say the last 5 years.
Yeah, since it was in Smash 4.
What on earth is the point of that?
Firstly, we should probably define the matchup chart thing.
Yeah.
Because this thing was created in the Brawl days, so when you and I were like...
Surely Melee had it as well before.
No, it was created specifically by the Brawl Backroom. I wasn't a part of the Brawl Backroom when it was created, but I always looked at it and I was like, man, that is genius. The plus-minus system, absolute genius. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's simple, it's to the point, you don't have to argue about things like chic players saying, it's the matchup is 53-47,
You get too specific and then you're just arguing semantics.
Yeah.
Semantics, right? There's no difference between someone who's like, this matchup is 53-47 compared to someone who's like, this matchup is 57...
43.
And so,
that's...
So what was the metric that they used?
Basically, they just did they created the number system. So basically, 0 is even, 1 or plus minus 1 is slight disadvantage or slight advantage. Then you've got plus 2, which is advantage.
Notable,
Yeah. Plus 3 is
severe
advantage or disadvantage. And then plus or minus 4 is quite literally impossible or almost impossible.
Yeah. Extremely, extremely bad.
Yes.
Basically.
I've seen a lot of people who are like, this matchup is plus or minus 4. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people who are like, this matchup is minus 3. It's basically impossible. No, it's not.
So why do you think those matchups are they're just not bad enough?
Yeah, they're actually just not bad enough.
Yeah.
In the period of time since Brawl, the definition of how we do our matchups has been muddied.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah,
like that's why we've gotten decimal points in our matchup charts.
Well, there's 3 big things that have happened. One is like a big Chinese whispers. Someone gets it wrong, and then they learn how it works from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, and they continue from there. Another one, different games. So now everyone's like, oh man, Palutena is so broken, like unbeatable character, where it's like, you compare that to Brawl Meta Knight, she's totally fine.
Yeah.
So what people are complaining about is an impossible matchup or a broken character. The tools they're not comparable, despite that. And the last one, before you quickly say something, is going into the decimal points, is the newer system that a lot of people use of the ratios of like out of 10 games.
I hate this.
How many would you win assuming the players are of equal skill, which is a bad metric.
This isn't a new concept though, by the way. Like matchups basically before the plus and minus system were like 60-40, and that's basically you win 60 games out of 100.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it doesn't really tell the whole story, because
Well,
you're always going to get people who disagree, and instead of disagreeing, you can just say, well, I think that this is a slight advantage, and you can get people who are like, oh yeah, I agree that it's a slight advantage, and then you don't have people arguing, oh, but is it somewhere between 51 and 49?
I think it's an even slighter
60,
advantage.
40,
Sure,
like, and that's why there should be no 1.5 or 0.1 like that. What does that even mean? In between even and slight advantage is very slight advantage.
It's irrelevant. Yeah, because when someone says the matchup is even, they don't mean like it is exactly dead, 100% even. You have the exact amount of tools. It's like there's probably some minuscule advantage one way or another, but it's not worth like talking about or noting. You know.
And those decimals is just introducing the problem of the ratios to the number system. Where it's like, well, if there's a +1 and that's 60-40, but if I'm going by or comparing to someone else's chart who has used 60-40s, 70-30s, then there's a 55-45 as well. It's like, well, what's less than 60-40, 55-45? What's less than +1? 0.5. So they've just taken the problem of that one and then just applied it to what should be a better system.
I think I really don't like the sort of X number of wins out of 10 games as a way to do matchups, because I think about matchups a lot more theoretically, I guess, to be honest. And also, like, you would need the players to be exact even skill level to even like identically skilled for this to be even
identical player, like playing against himself.
They would also have to like be like equal level of skill as players, and they'd also be equally proficient with their characters as well. And it's just like it's stupid. It's way too convoluted and messy.
But also, like if it's a +3 or whatever, considerable advantage. You won't be winning 7 of those 10 games if you're playing just as good as each other.
No,
you're going to be winning every game. But that's not reflective of the fact that, like, it's not an impossible matchup.
It's actually a really good point.
It's not a 100-0 matchup, but you will be winning 10 games. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you should.
So already that's a completely flawed system to go by.
It's a really good point, actually.
I think we should really be like kind of like defining. I will give some examples of +or -4 matchups.
Well, I just wanted to interject firstly. I want to ask you one thing. Do you think necessarily that is like a -3 matchup in Brawl has to kind of look the same as a -3 in Alt? But I'll give you an example, right? There is no matchup in Alt that is as bad as like DK DDD for DK in Brawl. This is like a -4. He basically infinites you off a grab, pretty much. It's extremely fucking bad. And we call that like a -4 in Brawl.
Well, that's what I was like kind of getting at. Like, so you've got characters like Sheik versus Ganondorf in Brawl. Like, theoretically, Sheik can throw out the chain and there's nothing Ganondorf can do. But that's obviously never going to happen. But if Sheik forward tilts Ganondorf, then he dies from 0, basically. So that's why this matchup is literally -4 for Ganondorf, because it's actually impossible to win. Same kind of deal with like DDD versus a lot of the characters that he infinites. They're all -4 because you can't avoid DDD grab forever. Ice Climbers, same thing, has a bunch of -4 matchups, +4 matchups against like Ganondorf and like all of these characters that can't do anything about it. Like, they just grab them and they die from that one single interaction. And there's no... Like, that doesn't exist really in Ultimate. Like, there's a couple of maybe like Min versus some characters.
So would you argue there are no -4s or 3s in Alt, or is it just easier to get to like that point or something?
I think the game is balanced enough that
they just don't exist.
Well, -4 doesn't really exist.
I think there would be a couple +3s or
there's probably a handful because there's so many matchups, right?
If you're calling that like severe advantage or disadvantage, that surely exists. So it's a -3s.
There would have to be some -3s.
Relevant from last night.
So even like Sheik versus Fox, and you guys have played Fox versus Sheik in Brawl, right? Against me.
Unfortunately.
That's only a -3. And
just don't get forward tilted.
Well, he has enough tools.
He has enough tools and mobility to not get forward tilted. But if you do get forward tilted, you die. That's the thing.
Pretty much.
So, but it's only -3, and that is a bad matchup. Really bad matchup.
Awful.
Really, really, really bad matchup.
I think people since Smash 4 have always like sort of overrated the matchups they win or lose. Like,
people don't understand. Like, even in Ultimate especially, like, you have Young Link sort of like, man, that's an unwinnable matchup with my character. It's
Yeah.
like, you do not know the first thing about an unwinnable matchup.
Yeah, I mean, like, if... Probably no high tiers even have this sort of matchups because at least they have too many tools intrinsically that like it's basically not going to happen.
If you have a -3 matchup and you're not in high tier,
they're probably not.
You're probably not in high tier because if you have that -3 matchup, it's probably against someone else in high tier, which means people are playing that character, which means your character can't be high tier.
Well, also the fact that character is like +3 in you, it's pretty unlikely that that character that's +3 has something so specific that no other high tier can recreate against you.
That's true.
Like they probably have options that are like it's like, oh, this character like gimps me for free. It's like, well, there are probably other characters that also then gimp you as well. It's pretty unlikely that only one character does this to you.
I feel like a lot of ultimate matchups come down to like, oh, you do this one specific thing. So like, this is an extreme example, I think, but Pyro versus Ice Climbers is just Pyro using Blazing End.
Makes sense.
Like, on repeat, like you do nothing else. You're just throwing the sword at them, and that's like a -2 matchup for like Ice Climbers.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's -3 because the Ice Climbers don't just die; they don't spontaneously combust like Fox does when he gets forward tilted.
You could jump over the like there are
like there's things that you can do. So that's just a -2, but I did see a tweet from Nagima, and I don't know if he was like trolling or joking. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what the goal of the tweet was, but he was like, I'll show you a real -2. And he posts a video of old Sagat versus Cammy from Street Fighter Turbo. And it's just Sagat using the fireball move on repeat. So he's like punching out fireballs and Cammy's on the other side of the stage, jumping up and down because there's nothing she can do. She's jumping up and down. This is a literal -4 matchup, even though someone from the Smash community has said, like, it's a -2. Yeah. It's not a -2.
Literally,
she cannot do anything. She's jumping up and down.
Yeah.
And the moment she tries to jump forward, because of how like Street Fighter's jumping mechanics work, you have to always continue to move forward.
Yeah.
You can't
drift.
back.
Yeah.
You can't drift. Yeah. So she'll just get hit by the next fireball, like the fireball after, because it has no lag. And even if she doesn't, she'll just get kicked because Sagat has like Dalsum limbs.
So when you're thinking about a matchup, do you sort of think of it as in the amount of options that both characters have? How do you define it? How do you find out who has an advantage or a disadvantage? How does that work in your own head when you're thinking about matchups?
When I'm thinking of it, I think of like specific interactions of move, because this is what makes up your matchups. How well does this character deal with your best option? They don't deal with it well, then it's probably -1, right? Like, if you can't punish a move that everyone else can punish, then you're automatically disadvantaged against this character, especially if they use it on repeat, right?
It's like a mix. It's like,
it's hard to define.
How say, like, neutral, the moves that I want to use, my range, my frame data, how does that interact with their range and their frame data?
Yoshi versus swords is a pretty prime example. Like Yoshi loses to characters with swords because all of his hitboxes are attached to his head.
Yeah.
Or like legs, right?
Yeah.
And then after that point, what happens when I get hit? Do I just land immediately and I'm able to continue neutral again, or do I effectively just lose a stock from getting hit?
Right.
And the other way around as well. What happens when I get a hit? How
far can I take it?
How far can I take it? How consistently?
What does the advantage look like? Yeah.
So you really kind of have to apply at least those three, and then even beyond that, like very specific interactions.
Yeah.
Disadvantage in Ultimate is very bad. If you get hit, you're in disadvantage, and that's not great for you. A lot of characters can just kill someone because they've hit you and they've put you in disadvantage, regardless of the matchup. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I feel like it comes down to, like probably more like neutral. Like, how more often is someone going to like land that first hit?
It's really tricky to say, right? So I was thinking about this matchup specifically, like Bayonetta versus Diddy in Smash 4. So if you talk about like options and dealing with the other characters, like most used stuff or whatever, Diddy wins neutral. Bayonetta cannot force on Diddy. Diddy always is like comfortable in the neutral. He always like feels fine or whatever. And there's more stuff that he can do at any given time. But yeah, she doesn't have to do anything. She can kind of just shield and up B whenever she wants.
Yeah. And
even though he has so many more moves that are available to him at any given time, it doesn't help. it doesn't actually like do anything. That's the problem. She can kind of just like sit there, jump up and down, shield, up B, whenever you touch a shield. And it's like, oh, the Bayonetta man's like, oh, you're winning neutral. I was like, but I can't force, nothing happens.
Yeah.
If I don't land the banana...
She can't break your neutral, but then...
Yeah, but she can also force on me.
Happens.
I get to move more often than she does, and I get to use more moves, and I can use any more moves at any given time, but none of them are actually, like, useful, in a sense. So it's tricky. Like, I think...
I mean, that matchup, I think, was probably even.
I think it's like, yeah, basically even.
I don't think it was a Diddy advantage just because he has, like, the banana, right? Like, Bayonetta doesn't have to do anything, but Diddy kind of doesn't need to do anything either. Yeah. Like, Diddy controls the thing. Like, the onus is on Bayonetta to hit you.
Yeah.
Not for Diddy to hit Bayonetta. So even if you're not doing anything, if you have that percent advantage, you're technically still winning, right?
Yeah,
but then again, Bayonetta can also just kill you off a single hit.
Yeah.
But that's like the trade-off, right?
There are a lot of different ways to like look at it, I guess, as well. I also never look at matchups in like a perfect setting, because if you look at them in in terms of perfect play, then characters will have like massive advantages.
Yeah, Sheik DK will be like 80-20 in Smash 4, which
exactly
never play out like
that.
that.
DK will never hit Sheik with perfect play in Smash 4. You'll never hit her.
I think there's a couple of characters that you can. Those being Brawl Ice Climbers, because it was always...
risk reward is a massive part of it as well. So, like, if the neutral's even, but if you win neutral, you kill them, and if they win neutral, they get 20%, then even though the neutrals are even, the risk reward just makes it hugely in your favour. And Ice Climbers is a massive abuser of this. They don't just win neutral for free against, like, Mario in Brawl, but once you grab him, he's dead, and if he hits you, it's like, oh, whatever.
If Mario grabs
whatever.
Popo, what happens?
Nothing.
Nothing. He down throws them for 7%, and then Ice Climbers walks away. But I guess they're not really they're kind of a disingenuous example because of how
they're so polarizing.
Yeah, exactly. So, because if you get the grab, efficient. They die, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know whether that makes their matchup charts more or less accurate.
I don't know.
Because you will eventually get a grab, right?
Yeah.
And they will eventually
they
die.
do obliterate basically the entire cast. And the matchups, in theory, I think, and in practice against all the mid and low tiers are unwinnable.
Yeah.
I would say so, because most of them don't have something.
And shaping the rule set of that game so much. We need Rainbow Cruise legal because of Ice Climbers. Yeah. We won't ban them though. We'll just have these ridiculous stages. We'll even make Meta Knight better, just so Ice Climbers aren't unbeatable.
Sheik DK in Smash 4 was a really good example, where it's if you're talking about theory, DK will actually just never hit Sheik ever.
Yeah.
But the reality is, human error, you'll make a mistake, you'll get perfect grabbed, and you'll die at 50 with some rage. So that just happens.
And that only needs to happen twice.
Yeah.
Kazi is the same thing in Ultimate as Ice Climbers was in Brawl.
Yeah.
You're eventually going to hit someone with your invincible half the stage move.
Whiff.
Yeah, you're eventually going to hit someone and you will kill them.
Yeah.
So
it's still hard, even though we're talking about it now, it's still hard to pinpoint exactly how you win a matchup or why you lose it.
Yeah.
I think definitely things like how much you get fucked in disadvantage, how much you can do off a hit against them, how your combos and strings work, the amount of options that you have at any given time in neutral. This is not as I mentioned here with Bayonetta, this is not the be all and end all, but the more options you have, this is obviously better. And recovering, particularly in Ultimate, that's a big one, I think. Because if you get knocked off stage and you die for free every time you're off stage, that's pretty damning in a lot of matchups.
That's Min Min versus Mithra.
Yeah. A lot of people also mistake uncomfortability for disadvantage as well. Yeah. Especially you'd say early Ultimate, you have Snake. We lose to Ness, we lose to Game & Watch, we lose to Mega Man. They do lose to Mega Man. But Ness and Game & Watch, it's okay, well, let's just focus on his incredible boxing kit instead of trying to camp them out with grenades.
Yep.
And suddenly, that advantage they had in the matchup just doesn't exist anymore. And they still have to deal with this incredible boxing kit. And it's actually, maybe it is even or we win.
I was actually
just because we stopped using
going
grenades.
to mention that. It's so many times that they're playing a character and their character plays the same way against 50 characters, but against 5 characters you have to play differently.
Yeah.
and they think they're uncomfortable, and like that move that always works doesn't work anymore, and it's like, oh,
I don't have so it's worse.
This matchup is losing. It's like, no, what if you use this move instead?
Yeah.
And again, like Bayonetta is a good example of this in Smash 4, where she can't do what she does to Diddy against what she does against like most of the cast. She just can't play the same way. She can't play sort of disrespectfully. There are a lot of matchups like that, or even Diddy against like Sheik, for instance. Like this matchup is even, or maybe even Diddy, maybe even wins. Who knows? But you can't just like spurg on her. Yeah. You're not allowed to do that because her frame data is too good. So you can't like if you short hop forward even remotely disrespectfully, like she will like dash grab the landing or something because she's so fast. So it's like I have to play like way more considered. And another one is like Diddy Game & Watch, who Diddy actually like fucks Game & Watch in Smash 4. As Nick McKenzie will tell you. But the thing is, like, you can't like be aggressive. No. Because you'll just run to up smash and dash attack. You'll get outboxed. Like his jab is just too good. You'll get outboxed and you'll get like obliterated.
It's frustrating. Yeah. But if you play it right, it's still like, very good for you.
What if I just like use my better range? I play like way slower. I just like Zenoto out or something. And you play it differently. And at first I was like, oh, this is like kind of hard. Like I can't monkey flip at this guy like an idiot. I'm getting up smashed. Like that's lame. But then like, oh, I have to play it differently. And people like have so much of a problem identifying the differences between like playing it differently or losing it. Yeah, I think
this is a sort of a common one in Ultimate that you hear a lot is that Bayonetta beats Rob in Ultimate
because she combos himself.
And she has a good advantage, and his gyro, like if he uses it lazily, she can witch time it and stuff like that. Right. But I think with the kit that Rob has, he is more than capable of just changing how he plays compared to what is normally comfortable against 90% of the cast, and utilizing different moves and using gyro less or more intelligently. I think it's probably still even or something like that. Yeah. But I don't think it's a flat out like, oh, she's a worse matchup. It's just flat out disadvantage against her. I think it's just a big case of that. Like you're so used to the comfortability of your kit against everyone else that it seems worse than it really is.
Yeah. When they say
she still definitely has things in the matchup.
When they say big disadvantage, like what are they giving it in like a plus minus?
Oh gosh, I'll say like I think they think it's like a comfortable -1, but it depends person to person and stuff like that. But I would be surprised if Bayonetta like flat out just beat him. Yeah. But different people think different things. I think even Esam actually made a tweet a while back. He has his interesting opinions. But I remember seeing that. I'm like, I actually agree. Like, there's no way that... Well, not no way, but I think it's unlikely that Bayo does just flat out beat Rob.
Esam's
like
opinion. That. Pikachu beats the best character in the game no matter what the Smash game is. Pikachu wins the match. It's the best character in the game. Guaranteed every time.
I mean, that's like the thing. In Brawl, it was very, very rare for you to find a character that was mid or low tier that just straight up beat someone from high or top tier.
Actually, like, might not exist. I can't think of, like, an example.
Sheik might have done something, maybe. I don't know. But even then, like, I think really the only outlier here is, like, Sheik versus Fox. But Fox is Fox high tier? No? Okay, well, then there you go. There's really no one.
Like Sheik Falco maybe, but realistically with like very good accurate play, Falco is fine.
-1, right? Yeah. Like it's not heavily in Sheik's favor, even though she like has the forward tilt. Same with Smash 4. Like there's no matchups in top or high tier where it's like.
It might be something in Smash 4. Maybe like Pac-Man Ryu or something. I don't know.
Pac-Man Diddy was a big one. Like even matchup.
Yeah, it was even.
But it was not like quite beat him outright.
Yeah, it was.
But annoying. Still did way better into the Diddy than any character of that tier.
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe some low tier camper who can like ice out Ryu or something. But
Charizard.
I know what you mean. But there's quite a few in alt. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's mainly just because there's so many like characters, really.
I mean, there's so many options.
Yeah. Yeah, but even then, like
there's so many kill setups. Like you look at Brawl, it's like okay, if Falcon wins neutral against Falco, like what happens? Nothing. You do 20% maybe. You hit him twice. Nothing happens. Whereas if Falco wins neutral against you, he's chain grabbing you. He's like, and you're not winning neutral ever anyway. When you're in ult, if the lower tier character wins neutral against the higher tier character, they will fucking punish you. Like they will hurt you. You know. So there's a massive difference there for us, and that's why low tier, like the matchup spreads are always going to be like more even. You only get to that like 0-4, -4 sort of thing that you looked at when you found in Brawl, because like the punish game actually exists and is relevant.
The punish game exists. So I guess really when you like break it all down, it's really like how easily are you getting that punish? How easily are you getting that grab that's going to lead into like a string of disadvantage things where you're going to punish them.
Maybe you can define it like this: like how many mistakes are you allowed to make?
Yeah. Okay. So compare like Brawl Ice Climbers.
Yeah.
Massive
0.
you can make 0.
Yeah, you can make 0.
If you value your stock, you can make 0.
3.
Yeah, you can make 3.
Well, it's per stock, right? Like Kazuya is very similar. Like you can make 0 mistakes against this character, because otherwise you'll die.
It's also interesting because like what constitutes a mistake is different for each character.
Yeah.
So like Meta Knight is a lot harder to make that mistake with against Ice Climbers because
he's like in the air, he's jumping and he's like down airing a lot.
Yeah.
So
whereas like lower tier characters, like you can basically not use a move because any move is a mistake. You're gonna get capped.
Yeah.
Like Steve, how many mistakes are you allowed to make against Steve?
Like 3.
1,
Yeah,
2.
1, per stock like 2. Yeah.
Because like he gets the 60% combo.
Yeah.
If he doesn't kill you with that to begin with, and then like he like does another like combo, or he just kills you outright with like a ladder to the up smash.
I think that's a pretty fair metric actually to look at matchups. If you want like one phrase, like how many mistakes you're allowed to make, I think that's pretty fair. Yeah. That's not too bad.
Well, that's why despite. So by the end of Smash 4, everyone was like, oh, you know what? We should have done 3 stock after all, not 2 stock. But I was the opposite. I started off, because Australia and Europe did 3 stock.
Well, I don't think Australia really
and
did.
Texas.
Australia didn't really do 3 stock. It was mainly
For
just
the first year and a half.
Queensland definitely.
It was just Lachlan's tournaments that.
It was Australia for a good year.
Really?
Or a year and a half, and then Queensland. Like right into mid 2017.
S06E is 3 stock, isn't it?
Yeah. And then Europe, I think, might have changed at the end as well. Texas, I think, stuck out with 3 stock the entire time.
I think 3 stock was better.
Lachlan was right.
I think by the end of the game, 2 stock was better, despite...
No, I might give you 2 stock if actually every set is best of 5.
That's fair.
Yeah. But then, I mean...
Also, I'm kind of biased to begin with, like, Shitashi Lumi, 3 stock. I'm like, nah. I don't want every set to be taking 40 minutes.
No, I understand.
And it, like every set, even just other players as well, like it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But looking at the game, pure required neutral exchanges, where in 2 stock, like Bayo needs 2 neutral wins to win the game. Cloud needs, 4 or 6 or whatever. And especially with Bayo requiring so little, like 1 per stock, every time you add a stock to the game, she needs 1 more neutral win, where every other character will need
percentage. Theirs goes way higher.
Goes way higher.
Right.
Every character will need 2
having to
or
win
3,
like
4.
6, they have to win 9 now, and she only wins like 1 more.
Yeah. So that's why by the end of the game, I bought 2 stock. Like despite how volatile and like you lose stock,
that's
the
thing.
game.
You're actually just making the game more inconsistent, so that Bayonetta is not winning,
but it's
as
by
much.
design.
But that like it, in the context of Bayo is legal, we're stuck with her.
Yeah.
Then if you don't want her to just literally be winning,
obviously,
100%
then
of the
we
time.
should just make it 1 stock.
But at the same time, again, there were like numerous comparisons of studies or whatever of the volatility of 2 and 3 stock.
Yeah.
And it was basically inconclusive. Like it essentially didn't seem to make a difference. If anything, like say in Queensland when we were talking about it, like I think Jace lost more often in 3 stock
That's fascinating.
than he did 2 stock.
Interesting.
So it really didn't seem to suggest anything. So aside from that, I think purely just statistically, 2 stock made more sense in the meta.
Well, moving on from that, I wanted to should have talked about this earlier, but just in regards to aMSa winning that major, right? I was watching this set and I realized how fucking good the melee casters are.
Yeah, was it Toph and
Toph
Scar?
and Scar? Yeah, and these guys have been around for like 50,000 years, but they are so good. And I wanted to ask you guys what you think makes a good caster.
It was a bit subjective.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you personally.
They have to. Okay, first of all, by and large, they need to be talking about the game.
Yes, please.
Please stop screaming at me.
Not always.
Oh.
You can sometimes have an interesting side conversation of, I don't know, whatever, tangent.
Yep.
But so often, especially Australian commentary, they're literally talking about anything but the game.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, some guy just tripped over there. Oh man, that was funny. It's like everyone viewing doesn't know what the hell is going on. Or
they're talking about some in-joke or meme or something. Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
Or a very popular commentary duo, where I don't want to rag on them.
Okay.
But I disagree with them being a very good commentary duo, or at least in the context of commentating Smash. It was aMSa and Weeb, where individually, more so aMSa, good sounding voice, could carry a conversation, entertaining to listen to. Some people, you know, if you don't have the voice for it, sorry, but bad luck.
Yeah,
you should just not be on the mic. I can't listen to you.
Yeah.
They were both good to listen to, but when you paired them up together, and they kind of, you know, they fed off each other, the energy, but it was negative energy. Like, man, this game's bad. Look at that degenerate. This player's bad, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they...
Oh, that was really skillful.
Where it's like, that is not what people want to listen to. Yeah. And that's the best case scenario, because that way they're actually talking about the game. Otherwise, they'd just be saying whatever nonsense, otherwise completely irrelevant. Yeah. And it's like... Look, you guys can have this conversation, just not on the mic when we're trying to listen to this set.
Have it between sets or something.
Yeah.
If you want. There's nothing more frustrating than getting your game streamed or something, and then going back into watching it.
You really want to hear
some sort of insight or something.
Yeah, a compliment or anything. Try not do that. Yeah, they're just not focusing on that
gibberish,
at all. Yeah. I'm not immune to that. Like, I've done that myself as well, but it's just how it is. Like, you need to be focusing on the game. You know.
I think there's like a nice... So first, I would say having I don't know what I think it's called, like a color commentator, who's like the one. Oh
you have the two. Yeah,
they're screaming. They're screaming at me.
Usually, a really good example if you've ever watched it is Monty and Doa from League of Legends, who used to cast OGN, which is the old Korean league in League of Legends. Now Doa is like funny, really like charismatic, funny guy talking about gibberish, whatever. Doing the sort of the play-by-plays and everything, and you get into a team fight and he's like rattling off all the stuff that's happening, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And then Monty's the one who like the high game knowledge and like dissecting what's sort of literally happening, all like the little intricacies and shit of it.
Yeah.
So the problem is when you get to like the back end of a tournament, the best players are still usually in the tournament. Yeah. So having someone with like a really good game knowledge is kind of rare. Yeah. Which kind of sucks. But this is like the best commentary duo that you can have, is like someone who is really good at like color commentary, and then someone who like has good game knowledge. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like kind of hard to find that usually. I think most people usually sort of agree with that like setup. Mm-hmm. But what we tend to have in Australia, in my experience, is like two color commentators. Yeah. And they talk like actually like
buffoons.
So like nothing about the game. Mm-hmm. I think another gripe I have is actually like the lack of criticism sometimes towards players specifically.
People try and sprinkle it too nicely about like, oh, that was a bold attempt, or like, oh, I like what they were going for. Where it's like, you really need to be like, that was dog shit. I think actually like terrible back air on that shield. Why have you done that?
Shitting on the game is like almost never a good thing to do, like the actual game itself, because people are watching the game and they want to,
it's just entirely counterproductive. Yeah.
But shitting on a player, like obviously you're never going to just viciously berate and rag on a player, obviously. Yeah. But if they're like just using aerials and they're just like not spacing them, like you must mention this. Yeah. This would be like in a sporting event if they're like there's a tennis match and they're double faulting on a repeat, and the commentators is like not mentioning it. Yeah. It's like, oh, unlucky serve. It's like, no, like you have to say, you've got to make mention of it. Be like, oh my God, he's really off here. He's just like not spacing these areas, always getting really badly punished from it. Oh, great punish there. You've got to like actually commentate the game. Yeah. You've got to talk about what's happening.
Or like, they've gone off stage, but there's been no attempt at forcing a defensive option to punish. They've literally just run off and hoped for the best. It's like, you need to think about it a lot more. You can't just run out like that.
I don't want to disparage like the Australian commentators that
They're
much.
Shit.
But I'm not going to lie. A lot of the times when I was watching streams or whatever, I would actually just mute it. Yeah. Because it's just so not, often. It's not listenable.
I will clarify. I don't think this is like particularly an Australian caster thing.
No. It's like 90%.
It's actually like the vast majority of casters. And I remember like in Smash 4 and Brawl, I don't remember their names, but all these guys like TK Breezy and
Keitaro
and
Coney.
EE and whatever.
Yeah.
Coney was, I never
Coney's solid.
Coney's alright.
Yeah.
But like they would just someone would get spiked and they would just be screaming.
Yeah.
Destruction!
Yeah.
And then like you'd be halfway through the next stock and they're still doing it. Oh, he got bodied! He got bodied! How about
so
that? And
bad.
It's like, fuck, dude.
It's so
like
bad.
I don't. How about you talk about how he got the spike instead?
Yeah.
That's what I know. He got spiked.
I
I'm
feel like
watching
they might not know.
They don't know.
No.
They might not know what's happening.
They don't know the intricacy of how like they found the spike or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that in Australia as well. You get a lot of the like the play-by-play.
Yes.
But it's like they're on ledge. They've rolled past ledge and they've missed the ledge trap. It's like we can see that.
Yeah.
We're watching. Like I don't need like an audio book of what's happening.
Yeah.
When I commentate, I always try and point out things that most players probably wouldn't notice. Of like. Like he's forward aired, but like he's delayed that timing.
Yeah.
Because he knows that the other person's going to try and parry it.
You have to be a
like that.
decent
Like,
player to do this.
You need to notice like the interaction that's actually happened there, not simply the input that's been put in the, into the controller. Nice back air. And it happens a lot, It does, but people so often just look at it at such a superficial level. And then convey that to the stream. It's just not interesting. It's not information at all. It's just...
But like, these Melee guys, like if anyone's listening to this and you enjoy casting, go listen to these guys, like Skarantov or Toph, whatever how you say his name, because these guys are fucking insane. They are so good.
They're good.
Like I could listen to them cast all day. I've never had... Same with you. Like when I watch like most sets, I actually just mute the casters because I can't tolerate them.
Yeah.
But these guys have a great mix of like entertaining and informative, and it's just so. And they're like together. They work really well. They've been doing it for a long time. But it's like the exact way Smash casting should be. And to be fair, I guess they kind of have more to talk about because there's a lot of intricacies in Melee.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of stuff to talk about at any given time.
The game is also more developed. So you kind of like know what's going to happen in like any
Well, you can't talk about like a specific tech that was used in Oz because there is no tech that was used. You know what I mean? But like the guys in Melee are doing like a bunch of minuscule, like he did that wave dash longer than he did a short wave dash there or like invincible dash or all this mountain of like shit that they have.
Yeah.
They get to always talk about that, which is like makes it easy, I guess, for them to do that. But
I did find it funny listening to them when I was watching aMSa Big House.
Yeah.
Like they'd say something and I'm like, that is exactly what someone would say, like commentating the Australian Open. Like I would hear that, like that exact, like the way they said it, what they said it, like really professional. It's interesting.
Well, they were talking about like what a lot of people talk about, which is like the tournament nerves or whatever, and saying, "I'm sorry, is he getting nervous? Is he going to choke or whatever?"
Yeah.
But they were doing this in a way that it didn't sound like you've heard it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And they somehow kept that all like really interesting. So I don't know. They're definitely the best casters in the business for me. Yeah. And I would like to see some of like the Australian casters and the Yank ones as well for like alt and stuff sort of get better at this, because I think it's like not that difficult once you sort of know how to do it. I don't know.
It's a bit of a cop out, and I think almost everyone would not everyone. There are some people who disagree, but I think Jason is probably basically the best commentator Australia has.
I think so.
Because he has both the color commentary and the knowledge of the game.
Exactly. He's very knowledgeable. He's
combination of both. And he can work with just about anyone as well. Like he could solo commentate, no problem. Where most people, they do it and they just like, again, all they can do is a play-by-play and really poorly.
Yeah.
With no one else. Like even when we had Big Win Beer and Stabby J, there are a few like Olag, Chipotle.
There's some that are alright.
I don't.
It's not like everyone in Australia is terrible.
I don't want to rag on them. They're very good as sort of like background noise, they're very good to listen to.
Engaging is different.
They're engaging,
and
they're very good at that. Where like Big Win Beer, like they kind of have the engaging side of it down. But when it comes to like, because I love the informative side of what's really going on, like the breakdown, the analysis, and no one really does that for me.
I feel like to be fair, no disrespect, Big Win Beers probably just wasn't a good enough player to do that, because to notice all those intricacies happening in live time and then to say them like kind of instantly, you've got to be pretty. firstly, you have to be watching the game like actually really closely.
Yeah.
You can't just be sort of just sitting there like paying half attention, listening to like the guys talking in the background or whatever, like over off the setup.
Yeah.
You actually have to be watching it and actually like be quite invested in the game.
Yeah.
And you have to have a pretty high proficiency in the game to know what's happening as well.
And
That was my problem
I
when
do think Olag and Chipotle
Yeah.
are better at that.
Yeah.
Where Big Win, I think, was a bit more about like he's putting on a show. He's
Yeah.
trying to, and it's kind of focusing on that more, which is fair enough.
Well, you just put
That's
him with
totally-
someone who's really informative.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That was my problem when I was like commentating in like Smash 4 was that it's really hard to focus on the game and then talk about like that specifically.
Yeah.
And for me, like obviously I'm more leaning towards being informative and stuff, but I can't just be like, here's a bunch of frame data. You know what I mean? Like, oh man,
Do it if
that
you
was
know what
frame 9.
Bowser's down tilt frame is.
Yeah.
Like,
You could have a little
that's-
quiz show while it's going on.
Like that doesn't work as
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
comment.
No.
It's good to put in. It's good to be like, oh, hit them with like, and you can give that information. Hit them with the frame 9 whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
sure. But
I probably do that a little too much, to be honest. Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know a
it's-
lot of frame data.
it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you need to know frame data. It's
Yeah.
important.
I've never known in any Smash game.
That's why you suck.
I know.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I was just too slow.
I mean, yeah, I lost to my Yoshi. I don't know what to tell you.
You suck.
Now, another big thing I wanted to touch on, and this is kind of interesting, and maybe, I don't know how well you guys will answer this, but do you have any certain things that you do when you're heading into a tournament in terms of your tournament prep? And how do you stay focused throughout the event itself?
I'm going to let Jesse answer that.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the bathroom,
Right.
and I'll be right back.
Goodbye, Ben. Just you and me, chat.
See ya.
Tournament prep.
Yeah, so you wake up in the morning, maybe, it probably even starts the day before, maybe the week before, depending on how much you're invested in this event. What does your prep look like going? Are you trying to play a lot of Smash? Are you avoiding Wi-Fi? Are you going into training mode? Like, what are you doing? Or do you do anything, or do you think about it at all?
All right. In Ultimate, I don't do any of this stuff.
Okay.
But
That's
in
why you
Smash
suck.
4, yeah, that's why I suck. In Smash 4, I actually used to just play Wi-Fi just as much as I could the week before. And yeah, like that's kind of really it. Specifically, I didn't have any like in real life like things that it's, I don't know, like
Yeah, there's no like.
sleep 8 hours.
Yeah.
Eat before going to your tournament. Like these things are so generic, everyone should really be doing it. You should be playing kind of like on a full stomach or like a half full stomach, to give you that like energy or whatever. And you should probably be playing on sleep rather than, showing up to a tournament.
I might never have won a tournament where I had a good night's sleep beforehand. You know what used to happen to me? I always tried to, but I could never sleep like before events, or I'd be at a hotel with like you or whatever, playing Smash until like 4 a.m.
Okay.
What would usually happen is I'd start going to pools and I would be extremely tired and I'd be sloppy and not very good. My hands wouldn't be working.
Yep.
And then a bit later through the day, I would get like the second wind, which is where you're really tired. Then you get hit with this second sort of bout of energy, and then I would sort of close out the rest of the day.
Okay.
And I'd win the event usually. And that's what happened when I was really tired. If I got a good night's sleep, by the end of the day, I would just be tired.
Right.
And the second wind wouldn't hit yet, and I'd just be like, man, I'm
Tired.
a fucking sleepy guy. And I would like lose the event. So.
Okay.
But I definitely agree that like obviously ideally like you should have like a good night's sleep, but it never really worked for me.
Yeah.
Now that it's eating, I would just like not eat.
Well, some people don't do it and they seem to perform really well, but really you don't lose anything. I think it's just straight up better to have your sleep and like have eaten before the event. Specifically in game, I played Bowser, so it's not like the character's not technical. I don't have to go into like training mode and like lab the combos or anything. I could do, the up throw to up air with my eyes closed.
Did you ever need to like try and was staying like warm in your hands like an issue for you ever throughout the day?
The biggest problem that I had, which I still have today, is that I would just get like super nervous in sets, and I could never fix that problem.
Yeah.
Like it would be like I would finish if a set was like close, my hands would literally be
shaking,
like shaking. I mean, my hands already kind of like shake.
Yeah.
But like after like a really intense set, it was just like, oh man, have to wait for like 5 minutes before my next one because
But if you let's imagine for instance you go to FNS 100 times in a row over the next 100 weeks. Do you think in the 101th time, do you think your hands are shaking?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No, you must get used to this this pressure in this situation. It's just not surprising or shocking anymore. Like a bit of adrenaline is always going to be there or whatever, but at a certain point, it almost like be like, even an extreme example, like being a police officer or something, where you go into a situation and you've just been there so many times that it's just not that shocking to your system anymore.
Right.
I guess you haven't gone to tournaments so consistently enough that you feel that way.
No, I mean I keep trying to, but then it's like,
that's just a guess. I'm not sure, but I just feel like if I've given you a big number here, like 100 tournaments. I don't think that's happening anymore. I don't think you're still feeling that same way, those same nerves.
Okay.
That's a guess. Yeah.
Well, Ben, what do you think?
Ben's not here. I remember when I was getting ready for SXC in like 2017 or whatever it was. 16? I don't even know. 16? Whatever year it was. I used to do this thing because I knew that SXC was coming months in advance. I knew I was going to it. And I knew that the winner went to Genesis. So it was a big fucking deal. I'd never won a major. So I was really keen on performing well at this tournament. And I used to like fucking mindfulness and meditation. So literally every day I would be in the shower. I would sit down in the shower and like close my eyes and meditate and envision winning the tournament for like 10 minutes.
Image training.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of do this as well.
Don't have a shot at me for wasting water. Sorry, everybody. But I killed the environment, but hey, I got second at the tournament. Yeah, that always, I think, I don't know. Do you think that is worthwhile?
I play out so many scenarios and things in my head. Like, very recently, like, because I've been playing Pyramithra and I've been like, oh man, I really want to like get better. Like kind of like get to that point where I was at least in Smash 4 where I was like, you know, top 8ing events and stuff. I often think of moves that I land as Pyra and then think, okay, stop. What can they do here? They have this option, that option, and this option. What can I do that covers these options? Things like when I use Pyro back throw, for example, like where are they going to go? If they land on the platform, what can I do with that?
I thought you told us you didn't play Smash in your head.
Not to prepare for a tournament.
So what are you fucking talking about right now then? Well, we asked you like last week. I said, do you like play, or maybe the week before I said, do you play Smash in your head? And you were like, no. So you're fucking fake.
No, I think that's wrong.
I think you're fake as fuck.
Maybe I was ignoring you or something.
Maybe.
And then just said no at a habit.
Did this guy not say that he didn't play Smash in his head? Like 2 weeks ago?
I don't know. I have a mild concussion.
Oh my god.
Smacked my head on the windowsill.
I'm not even going to ask.
There's something to do, like your door handles are really low to the ground.
They are.
It's for like, is this house for short people or something?
Do you think I built it? I don't know.
The door handle was
How old
fine.
are you?
I got it lifted. In the seat.
I didn't build the house, mate.
It's an old house. So
It is. It's a very old house.
Maybe people were just shorter back then.
Well, they were. I mean, maybe not when this house was built, but this is great podcast content. But people used to be shorter, back in like medieval times.
Yeah, like 800 years ago.
Yeah.
Not 20.
This could be an 800-year-old house.
Whatever,
You don't know.
man.
It was his fucking. It was his thing. Like, were people shorter back then, 20 years ago?
Anyway, so the door handles are really low.
I think his house is actually about 100 years old.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Getting old.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't have counted playing the game in my head as tournament prep. I would have been more tournament reflection for me.
Well,
Depends
okay.
on how you count it.
I don't.
I guess it is
the actual-
preparing for the next.
The topic I was talking about
I
was
was
like
thinking like morning off.
getting ready for
kind
like
of thing.
SXC, and I used to visualize winning the tournament.
I
for like 10
play out
minutes a day.
Mark yourself in the
scenarios. I
Florida.
play out scenarios, but I don't play out like games or anything.
Nobody plays out the entire game.
You
Is
don't?
that what you thought we were doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're not playing out the fucking entire game from start to finish.
It's like
Oh my God.
the 20 seconds leading up to and including you losing the game, and then you're like, all right, well, given their spacing and the option they chose, what would have been something I could have done? That would have
I
beaten
remember
that
now.
option?
You were just
Or,
like, you said to me, do you like replay like a set in your head when you lose
You
it?
don't
And
play
I was
out
like,
the
no.
entire set, mate.
No. When I lose, I never
32
played out.
minutes of-
I never played out why I lost or whatever.
But can't you envision like moments? Like, let's say I lost this set, and I remember this time I was in neutral against him, and he did this option, and I didn't cover it, or I didn't.
No,
know it
I'm
was-
only thinking of things in advantage and theoretical scenarios.
God.
I'm never thinking of like a previous
Well,
game. and
this
being
is
like,
what we. So you do play the game in your head. That's literally what we're talking
Sure,
about.
whatever.
Oh my god.
I would like a side note. I don't want to speak for everyone, but it does seem to be a thing that a lot of people can't do. Or maybe they just don't do, I don't know. But if someone describes a situation, in my mind, like, I don't know, Rob, throwing gyro at Bayonetta after you back airs into the ground at, at a certain distance or whatever, I could literally play out in my mind, like, frame by frame, I'm like, that would hit. Yeah. Yeah. Where a lot of people are like, oh, I just couldn't see it, or they wouldn't know something, or like, how would this interaction work? Well, like, I could literally just, from hearing like what the question is, I could literally play it in my head as if the game is running. And I would like figure it out, even though I haven't actually seen that interaction.
95% accuracy, you'll know if it works or not.
Yeah.
Which is why when you were telling me I could shield your crown and then grab you as Young Link, I was like, fuck no, I can't.
You can.
No, if I'm sitting right next to you, a fake
whatever, man.
Fake.
Just jump over it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm close enough, I could jump over and grab you.
But yeah, by and large, I was better at Smash 4, I think.
Yes.
But I could literally, and I would do that in sets where I lost, or play out an alternative timeline of what happened when I did something else or whatever, and I would try and implement that the next time.
I would often be playing out usually neutral, and sometimes advantage, disadvantage. Like, if Samus dash attacks me, like Jason Samus dash attacks me at this angle, like what happens? I can probably SDI down off that first up air and then up air, which I did like a few times and stuff like that, and you just know that it works without even actually labbing it. You just like that works.
That would work.
I can just do that. Yeah. Or it's like, Cloud has like nared my shield really close to the ground as did he in Smash 4. Can I short hop down air him? No, I can't do that.
No.
What can I do? I can forward tilt him on certain spacings. I can down tilt on certain spacings.
Yeah. Can I back air? Oh no, he'd crash under it.
Crash like,
Well, some people, they literally can't. They just, or at least like they haven't.
Well, they don't
tried
even
to do
know,
enough.
or maybe they don't
even
even know that they're doing it. They can't do it subconsciously.
That's possible as well.
Did you have any sort of specific tournament prep?
Well, for starters, I'd rock up late, so I'd have some extra time. But actual tournament prep, like in the days leading up to it, rather than the morning.
Whatever it means to you, either one.
Oh man, I feel like I had something good that I was thinking of, and it popped out of my head when I smacked it.
Maybe I'll win some games after this now when we play Smash.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I'm just pyro forward tilting people in my head right now.
Yeah, the big one is playing out. But on the day, I don't really play the game. I found that weird. My step for me.
Yeah, I like playing friendly throughout the day. I like just like staying warm, but I'm more input heavy than you are.
For me, it's just like I run out of stamina. Yeah. Even like last night when I was like the last couple steps, like I could not give it my 100%. It was getting a little late, and just couldn't do that. Especially monthlies, I cannot just be playing the whole game. Majors, I always feel bad because it's like I want the experience against the other players, but
you have to do what's in best interest of like performing at the top.
Exactly. And to perform my best, I don't play.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's even like when I played more often, like I wouldn't practice a whole lot, but I'd always be thinking of the game, digesting it. Yeah. If your brain is there,
watching other people play,
I'd be watching every game. I'd watch other sets. I'd watch how the Queenslanders are doing.
Yeah.
I'd still constantly be consuming the game, just not playing it myself to conserve that stamina.
Yeah. I know, like some people have some really like. I'm always curious about like what is like. God, I've said like a lot there. What is most efficient? What is like the perfect way to actually like prepare for a tournament or to do things?
I imagine Ghost or J Dizzle would have something down pat for that.
I think Nick would have a lot because I know that time where I slapped myself. He numerous times during that set he would lose a game or a stock and he would smile. And I remember asking like, "Why are you doing that?" He's like, "Oh, it's good for your brain."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
reset.
Fuck yeah, that's pretty
really
interesting. Yeah. It was something about the
insincere smiling.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's
probably clears your mind
or something,
releases whatever's,
but I don't know how insincere it was, but and I was like, I've tried to implement that a few times. Like you're getting frustrated or you get hit by something and you just like, you don't do like the assault smile. Everyone knows what that looks like, but you just give a real like an actual smile and you kind of, it calms you down a bit and you feel like a little bit better. And I just wonder how many little cheat codes like that exist for tournament preparation and during an event or even during a game.
There are a few little things, or they're pretty big like, things, honestly. Some more obvious than others, like getting a good amount of sleep the night before, drinking water throughout the day. A lot of people just don't drink anything the whole day. They
just
or they don't eat anything, or they get a burger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it helps win tournaments. That's why it's top
Yeah.
5.
There you go.
It's the best energy drink.
Everyone does, some consciously, some subconsciously. It's like the big breath, like a.
Yeah.
Usually after they lose a stock to sort of reset, calm down a little bit. There's on the Angel platform.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
And they take the moment to like just relax and reset.
That's it's like a stress thing.
Yeah, it regulates. Your mind and body.
It's a regulator.
And how much like I feel better so much after doing that just now.
Just like
I'm so calm.
It will calm you down, and it like tells the brain, because it's like, you know, humans or whatever are like, oh man, I'm in danger, and that breathe in, breathe out is like, oh, I'm okay.
I'm playing against Kazuya. I'm in danger.
I find I do it more often after winning a game as well, instead of losing. Don't really know why, but I have noticed that. Between games, between stocks, like a lot of people, I think Ari...
I find I'm more stressed after winning a game anyway, so yeah, that's might be why you're doing it.
Ari, to my knowledge, I don't think it was ever like, oh man, he's done this, he's going to lose now. Like, there's never anything like that. But I did notice that Ari, for example, would always like rush right into the next game, especially. Well, I don't know, especially, but even when he lost a game, just boom, right into it. Well, like I always take my time. Like I'm going to.
I don't know. I can't feel like I don't like dwelling on the loss during the set.
No, I like not dwelling on it, but just giving myself time just to reset, like a 10, 20 seconds.
Dwelling, like, I don't even want to sit with it. Just get me back in the game.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of how I felt.
I don't think about it, although I might be like, maybe try and think of, like a couple minor adjustments.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, oh man, I lost. I'm 0-1. It's just like, let's just not rush into it.
I'm a rusher. Get back into that game. You should have seen how quickly I got 0-3'd by 3-0 by DD. It was lightning fast back into those games.
You know, like when we've been playing a brawl, and it's like, I need a water. Like, if I'm these games are just getting worse and worse and worse, I need to go to the bathroom. I come back. It's better.
It is frustrating from like the person you're playing against, right? Because when they are just mauling you and they're just all over you, and they know, hey, the second game starts, like that's more of the same. Like I'm just going to annihilate this guy. And then he's like, gonna take a second here. Gonna go get like a drink of water. And you're like,
you don't want to take minutes of their time.
You don't.
Or like
that's annoying.
But
you take your time and you just slow them down a little bit, and it's like it's frustrating a little bit because you're like, I'm going now. Like I'm fiending now. Like get me into the game. So people should do it. Like they should. Whereas since I was always kind of like a speed-based player, I was like, no, like run, like let's go back into it. I've got the adrenaline now. Let's get back into the game. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Also, another, I don't know what it is, and I haven't, it's more so a Smash 4 thing than an Ultimate thing, but for whatever reason, I always found I played my best on Smashville and Town and City because of the music.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I
know. I am not at all like, I like this song, I'm going to be playing better. Like, maybe that works for some people. That's not how I go. I don't listen to my own music. But something about the Smashville or the Animal Crossing music, it almost like made me stop. Like,
this is so stupid.
No, I know. This sounds stupid, but it's like, it's so like not music or anything that it almost like forced me to just slow down and stop. And I felt like I played smarter for whatever reason. Like I just could slow it down and think more. I don't know. I haven't had that for a while, but I remember just for a good while.
You would want to slow it down, wouldn't you? Lame-o.
Yeah, exactly, right? Where like, I don't know, I couldn't even explain it, like the tempo or whatever, but just something about it was like, I don't know, I just felt like I played smarter when...
Well, some people do this, they can't pick you to a stage and they set a very specific like music track and stuff. I've never done that.
I have KK Dog or whatever it's called in my head now. KK...
You're bouncing to it.
KK...
you look fucking weird.
KK Yo-Yo?
I don't know, man.
Dude, you're the Smashville, like, in that case.
KK...
Dude, no, we don't know. We don't know. Don't just keep asking me the question. We don't know.
You're speaking gibberish.
I think it's KK Slider.
Dude, shut up. Dribbler. Don't do it again.
Where's the kitty chair?
KK, that could have been the first kitty chair. That was probably it, actually. Close. One more like KKV? Like
no, I'm pretty sure it's KK Slider. Don't worry.
It is KK Slider.
Thank you.
I thought you were trying
to think of why didn't you let me know?
I thought you were trying to think of the song, not the dog. Everyone knows it's KK Slider.
Well, how come nobody said anything?
Well, because I thought you were thinking.
Because you're pissed.
I called him KK Dog.
Well, because the songs are also like the KK drumming or KK surfing.
Because you're kind of just like I'm just hearing words, and I'm not really processing what they are. So I'm just like, Eric, shut up. Honestly. I'm just like, KK,
go next.
dog, KK, dogsy, slider, whatever the fuck you're saying. And I'm like, not really fully focused. I'm just like, shut up, honestly. All right.
Whatever, man.
Moving on. Favorite video games. What do you like in a video game? What do you sort of... How do I word this? What makes a good video game for you? Outside of the obvious, it's enjoyable for whatever. Like how would you...
I have a list of my favorite video games.
Yeah, you made a tweet about it like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah.
Would it have changed much?
I don't think it would have changed much. Maybe Digimon Survivor's on there now, but...
What's your all-time favorite?
I'm pretty sure it's A Link to the Past.
Okay. Ben?
Probably Thousand Year Door.
Cracking game, yeah. Cracking game.
Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
We should do a playthrough and
put
it on YouTube. Yeah.
I have been meaning. Someone's been making like a hero mode or whatever. Like basically, it's exact same game but just difficult because I don't know if you've played it more recently.
Not recently.
But like, if you play it as not a kid, it's like this game's actually too easy.
Okay.
Like it's not a hard game.
Yeah.
Brawl.
Brawl is your all-time favorite game.
Probably.
Well, it's not.
I think it's Pokemon Unite.
Absolutely not.
Where's League of Legends?
TFT.
League of Legends is like down in the games that I play a lot, but
actually,
okay. Outside of multiplayer games, what was your first?
On here I have Persona 4 Golden, but that's probably dropped.
Okay.
My opinion of that has
dropped,
gone down.
Less than it was before.
Before. I don't know. It's a good game.
Wow, this was your all-time. It's good, I guess.
I made it.
I made it. Many good games.
I made it. Like I think in the tail end of like playing it, but like now that I like critically like look at it more, it's like I can see more of the flaws that it has.
What are the flaws?
In it. The characters are kind of just like on a surface level, they're developed quite well, but then you like look into it more, and it's like you kind of see the cracks and like where the characters are being developed. Like the social links in the game is just, you met up with like a nurse and she's like being flirty, and then she's like, I'll see you again. And then that's 10 episodes of this social link, and it's just her being like, are we going to do something today? Just kidding. But maybe next time.
Don't do that again, please.
And it's that for 10 fucking episodes. It's just this.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end and she's like, and now I've gone to Africa to save kids, which is great.
Oh, that's
good
great.
for her.
That's good for her.
But
yeah.
The social link hasn't gone anywhere.
Okay.
You're wasting your time for the first like 8.
Yeah.
So is this Persona?
Persona 4.
What does Africa have to do with Persona?
She's just gone to Africa to help.
Well, you don't want to save kids?
That's crazy.
You just hate children? You don't want to help
Well,
children?
we're trying to ban them all from the events.
So yeah, like things like that, like the social links is where most of the character development is, but you can't have like, because they're tied in with the main story, you can't have like sweeping, changes of the character's personality. So they have to be pretty much the same. And so like that's where I have my criticisms of the game.
So it's no longer your favorite single player game?
Probably would not be my
So what is?
I had Breath of Fire 3 here.
Oh, yeah.
Exceptionally good game. Just
play that.
An absolute masterpiece. Then like A Link to the Past.
We need to do a revised like top 10 list, I think, for next episode.
Okay.
I'll release it now. My favorite game of all time is Morrowind.
Yep.
Elder Scrolls. Every like 7 months or something, I'm in the Discord, like our Discord, and I'm just like,
time to play Morrowind.
Time to play Morrowind. It was like, you just played it. I was like, time to play Morrowind again. This game is actually I don't even know why. Like, it's just objectively like kind of worse than Skyrim or whatever. But atmospherically, it's just crazy.
Like, I have Digimon World 2003 on here. This is not a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But I love this game so much. Like, the sprite work is beautiful. The music is great.
Yeah.
The battle system is fun. It's a bit slow. It's buggy. But, I don't know. I love this game.
I think it's about something about like Morrowind, for instance, is that there is no element of it that looks generic. I don't know if you've ever played this game, but look at Skyrim and you're like, oh, like Vikings or something. Like Nords. Oh,
yeah,
they're Vikings. Like, it's cool, but they're Vikings. Whereas in Morrowind, like the armor, the land, like you have these fucking gigantic mushrooms and shit that are just, like multiple stories high and all this sort of shit.
That's interesting.
It's just like the immersion of it is really, really good. The music is not generic. Out? Oh god, 2000.
Yeah,
that's a total guess, but I reckon like 2000 or 2002 or something. But it is such a gorgeous game. Like the music and the atmosphere of it, the creatures. It's not like a big wolf or something. Like they're just like freak looking monsters and enemies.
Yeah,
and the whole like the landscape of it is so like it's so immersive. And there's also like there's no real voice acting really. Like there are some lines, but when you talk to someone, they're not like talking to you like they do in Oblivion and Skyrim. Yeah. It is a massive wall of text, which allows them to actually like have a lot more because they don't have to have all of these fucking voice lines.
Yeah. So
it's like I just find it like so immersive. It was the first game when I played it for the first time. I was like, oh my god. You can do anything. That's kind of crazy.
Is that the one with like the ridiculously huge map, like the world map, or am I?
I mean, I don't know.
Skyrim has like a bigger map.
It's fucking big.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of it like an earlier PC game where it's like more primitive, maybe. But it's like really.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's the one you think of. It is a big map for sure.
I mean, that's kind of like why you liked Fable, right?
I mean, okay. The difference with Fable is I look back on Fable 1 now and I'm like, this game is like not very good.
Okay.
But I love it from like nostalgia, and there are elements of it that I really like. And again, like the atmosphere of it is great, even though you can't really distinguish what exactly that is.
Yeah.
But it just feels great. You feel like immersed.
It
did. It did, but it had it. But I still love it. I can still play Fable right now and play through it, no problem. But objectively, it's like this game isn't, or like Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah.
It's like dog shit.
It's
awful.
Yeah. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a Pokemon game in your top 10?
I mean, for the amount of hours I've put into it, I would probably have to say Pokemon Stadium, even though there is no reason it should be. It's just it's just a shit game.
Yeah.
It's a fucking little battle simulator that sucks.
I haven't thought of it a whole lot, but I probably would have like Gen 3.
Yeah. I have Sapphire here.
Yeah.
Because I was like kind of thinking, because as we all kind of know, I don't think, and I don't know whether you guys think this as well, but I don't think Game Freak is a very good game studio.
No.
Based on
everything.
kind of everything.
Yeah.
I think that they like peaked in like Gen 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that they got lucky. I think they got lucky that they came up with
just the great, like it's
just like
it's the Harry Potter of video games.
The incredible concept of like Pokemon.
Yeah.
And like the turn by turn base, like the exploring, the gym leaders. It was unique for a JRPG.
Yeah.
Like you don't have that monster collecting unless you're playing like Dragon Quest or something,
cute,
right?
you know.
Yeah,
they're
cool like
little.
They're cute.
They look good. They're like artistically well designed and stuff. Yeah.
But Game Freak as a developer have made very few attempts to really to create something that's different from Gen 1.
It's kind of like why change a winning formula though, like why change a winning game.
I suppose so.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but I guess realistically there's not much incentive to do it.
But there's like so much
There's
you
so
could
much,
do.
There's so much they could do, I actually think...
But I just don't think that they have the capability to do it. I don't even think it's that they don't want to. I just don't think that they're able to.
Yeah, I think Diamond and Platinum are my favourite Pokemon games, probably.
Yeah,
Platinum,
I know like Heart Gold, Soul Silver is a very common...
Actually, Sapphire was my first game.
Ruby was mine.
Platinum, so that's like a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Platinum, also incredible.
Crystal's actually really good.
Crystal's really good as well. Platinum like introduced me to like Cynthia being like the goated champion that she was. Yeah. She's so cool. She's got like all these different Pokemon, like not like like Lance has a Dragonite and like
I feel like it's like challenging
2 Gyarados
in a good way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas that's probably my biggest gripe with like the last like 3 generations of Pokemon games is that you could just play them as a toddler with your eyes closed, with like 1 thumb and 2 fingers. Like it's just the easiest fucking thing in the world. You could actually just randomly select moves and you'd win. Like,
I soloed Sword and Shield with Golisopod.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but when I've done like babysitting and stuff like that, similar stuff, kids today are so stupid. Like insane, like mentally challenged, stupid. Like they're a regular kid, but like when I was 5, 6 playing games, I felt like I just had no problem. I knew what to do. I played the game fine, you know.
I see.
And then I talked to a kid, and I'm like, "Yeah, you need to go to the right." And he goes left. To the right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no.
you look at like
they can't read sentences.
Adventure games now, whatever, and you compare it to like what kids grew up with, say, let's say Banjo-Kazooie, DK64. I mean, these games are like, if you have 7 and playing through Banjo-Kazooie, you'll fucking not complete it. Actually, like you'll not beat this game. Actually.
Yeah.
Well, me and Jason were actually Jason and I were kind of discussing this last night. I was like, I don't even know how like I completed A Link to the Past.
Literally.
What was it called? Rayman Advance.
Right.
when I was a kid.
Difficult
because these games are hard.
Yeah.
And Jason was like I completed Banjo-Tooie or whatever. This game's just not possible to beat.
No, Banjo-Tooie is fucking hard. It's hard.
So I don't know. Like I guess I feel like I've gotten worse with video games as I've gotten older.
But it's not your fault. It's all the games that they're releasing now. They're too baby mode. They just regress you. That's the problem.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. Maybe that's like why I'm just so shit at Smash Ult, because every Smash game it just gets easier. So I'm just regressing because they're just baby formula Smash games.
These kids and everything, they're struggling with these even easier versions of games. And
well, I mean,
it's really
strange. I
strange.
stand with the kid that you're babysitting. I can't tell my lefts from rights either.
Like, you got to put up the finger.
You see, you do this, and this is an L, so that means that's left.
I hate that.
That's
the first time I think you told me that, I was about like 16, and I actually freaked out.
I was in the car because you were like, "Oh, go right," and I was like, "Oh man,"
and I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Oh, this is left. So that means this has to be right. That's called a process of elimination.
Like the good friend I was, I like viciously made fun of you for it for 4 years. So really nice of me. I'm a good person for sure.
That's good.
I couldn't even could I even flame you back? You were like 16. Like making fun of a 16-year-old is just not really where it's at.
Oh yeah, I was definitely never made fun of when I was 16 at all in the Smash scene.
When you were 18 though.
Not by me. Not by me.
I left my jacket somewhere. I think you gave me shit for that for like ages because I left my jacket at a tournament. You mailed it back to me.
Oh, did I?
Mailed it back.
That was nice.
Mailed it back to me. Yeah.
Oh, I guess you're like coughs or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that normally.
That's fair.
Well, I didn't attend stuff for like 4 or 5 months. So
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll make it like a top 10 list for favorite games. We can do that. Go over that next week. I'm curious to see because I think mine will be pretty a lot of different like genres.
Yeah.
Like sprouting off some names that come to mind, like Battle for Middle-earth, which I'm sure none of you have ever played. It's like a real-time strategy.
No,
I watched you play it. You like killed a tree or something. I don't know.
I'm chasing down and snorted. Yeah.
Even tricky, like comparing like single-player games to multiplayer games.
Well, like
as
Smash
like, you know, how do
4
you
and
fit
Brawl,
that in?
like probably realistically, like I've just sunk so much hours.
Yeah.
Into them.
Yeah.
And
Mario
I've
Kart
had
Double
so
Dash.
much fun.
That's
with
like
those
why I
games.
have Brawl as like Brawl as my number one, right? Because
Maybe
this
that's
is a game I've played.
Might
the
have to get
most.
rid of multiplayer.
Melee
games.
L Brawl would probably be my number one as well. Yeah.
You might not like Smash at all.
Nah.
we played like a bunch of alt, went back to Brawl, which we've been, if you've been listening to the podcast, raving about how great it is for like multiple episodes.
Felt like
played
shit.
like 5 games. He's like, God, this game is awful. So Brawl might be dead.
Yeah. Went back to Smash 4 as well. This is even worse than Brawl. Yeah, can't do it.
Just awful. It's like, oh my God, how did Jace ever lose to me? Like, this is disgustingly bad.
Yeah. They're all bad.
The last thing we had to do, we mentioned this last episode, was the $100 Steam card giveaway that we're going to organise. So, here's how this is going to work. Should you be in the market for a free $100 Steam gift card, which you should be because it's free, you really have to do.
Stupid.
Yeah, what are you stupid?
It's easy money.
It is easy money. Well, it'll be easy money for the winner.
Yeah.
Is that you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel and then like and retweet the release of this episode. So I'm going to tweet this out, the little announcement saying, hey, new episode of the podcast has just dropped. You can watch it here. Like, retweet that, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then you'll go into the draw to win the $100 Steam gift card. That's all you have to do. You don't have to comment. You don't have to do any weird shit or whatever. And
it's just 4 clicks.
It is 4 clicks because the retweet takes 2 clicks. So yeah, 4 clicks. Then you're going to the draw to win that, and we will release the winner of that next week on the podcast. We'll announce that. Little caveats. We mentioned this last week, but you will have to be Australia based And there was another thing. Oh, you have to be like in the Smash community, I think.
Yeah, basically.
And it will just be the arbiter of what that is, I guess, because I don't know how you really define that. But basically, if you're watching this, I'm sure you're a part of the Smash community, so that will be fine. But obviously,
we have any viewers who are banned from events and they end up winning?
Yeah, sorry, Corpse, unlucky. That won't work.
we might actually reveal the winner not next week, but the week after, just because there's a very short amount of time between when we release and when we like actually do.
You are liking and retweeting this episode, the one that we have right now. So like retweet that.
7 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ever since we did the Brady one, it's like, oh, what's the 6th one?
I don't know why I don't check at the top of the episode. I don't know why I don't check.
No.
You should write it on your notepad.
I should. I have a little notepad.
So smart.
That would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
I'm a genius.
But yeah, so really easy, guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and retweet the tweet. That's all you have to do. We're going to the draw to win that $100 Steam gift card. Why are you thumbsing me up?
What's wrong with the thumbs up?
Just I actually saw an article which was like the reason that you can never use like a thumbs up emoji with like young people anymore, and apparently it's because they find it like really like passive aggressive or something.
I've always found that.
You find the thumbs up passive aggressive?
It's like what's the word? Not just passive aggressive, but like patronizing or whatever. It's like a okay, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like it's like a whatever, like literally that meme where there's the guy and then there's a group of people. And then the one like does the big thumbs up, like literally that. Literally that.
No, I always consider giving people like a thumbs up on the road because if they've done something nice, like let me in or whatever. But then I think to myself, what if they like accidentally think it's like the middle finger instead? Like maybe they can't like see.
It's just the hand up.
Yeah, it's the hand up. But like I can't do the thumbs up because I don't want them getting it's confused with this, right? Like with the thumb.
I'll tell you what it is with the thumbs up thing. If you thumbs up react something or just like send it a thumbs up emoji and you do nothing else, then it's like, what's that about?
Yeah, exactly.
What's this?
What does this mean?
What does this mean? Yeah, you rude guy.
In person, I could never see a problem. Like you just look at their face or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Or if you thumbs up and you're like, yeah, man, that's a good idea, and you like respond.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
But if you just thumbs up nothing else,
it's like,
you're just like, are we still cool? Like, what's the? Are you calling me an idiot? Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. I do this though on Discord. I'll do like a thumbs up.
Nobody likes you. That's why.
Well, because if you know that that's what they do, then it's like okay. I'm not going to think anything of it. But if it's like the first time someone's ever done it, it's like, what do they mean by this?
But it's just funny. I literally just like read this article this morning, which was like, don't ever. It was like capitals where you can never use the thumbs up emoji towards young people again because they'll have like a fucking panic attack or something. So it's like, okay. Well, yeah. Anyway, that all about do us for today. Those are the giveaway rules. Thanks very much for joining us for episode whatever number of the Aristochats
You guys
podcast.
can figure that out.
Yeah,
you're the one watching.
You know, maybe.
Yeah.
As always, guys, if you have anything you want us to discuss, any specific guests that you want us to try and get on the podcast, do let us know. Really happy with how we've been going so far.
Yeah.
Really nice getting some more engagement and hearing what you guys think about the podcast. I know a lot of people have been talking to Ben about their thoughts on it, so that's really cool to hear. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Goodbye. Could you open the door and close the screen door behind the door because it makes a really loud click?
Oh, like villager.
Probably as well.